So my wife is really into this whole unboxing thing, and she subscribes to companies that provide boxes every quarter. She gets a bunch of stuff, clothes or jewelry or blankets or stuff she doesn't need and she wouldn't otherwise buy, but she gets them in these boxes every quarter. And I know on YouTube there's a lot of popular unboxing type of videos. So what I thought I'd do today is unbox an ERP implementation. And bear with me, it may sound like something that can't be done, but I'll show you what I mean here. So in this box contains everything I need for an ERP implementation. Everything I need to know is in this box right here. So let's see what's in here. All right, so a few key things here. First of all, you've got the ERP system itself, which is right here. It's an empty box because it's a cloud-based solution. So now we're going to have an ERP system that we can't really see, we can't install it. I don't have any servers here that I can install the software on. It's going to be hosted out in the cloud. The reason this is really important as it relates to an ERP implementation is we need to get used to that. The fact that we don't own the software here in our four walls. Most ERP systems now are cloud-based, and therefore, we need to think about how are we going to deal with that. And that's a big change for a lot of CIOs and IT types, especially that are used to controlling their software and their data and everything. Now it's an empty box. Someone else is hosting that stuff. The other thing too that's interesting about the empty box here is that when we think about what's going to make this software really work and excel, it's going to be people and change management. And that's something we can't see or touch or feel either. So arguably the two most important parts of the entire implementation, the software itself and the human component, the organizational change, are things that we can't see or touch or feel. So that's a really important part of why that's so important. So let's see what else we have here. First of all, a Rubik's Cube. I'm a child of the 80s, so I know and remember how frustrated I would get with these. My kids can solve these very quickly, and I still can't get more than two sides. And I don't know that I ever will figure out how to solve it, but that's a lot like an ERP implementation. There's a lot of different pieces and moving parts that we've got to figure out and manage as part of our ERP implementation. So that's the Rubik's Cube here. I'll set this all out here. And then the game of Risk. That's my favorite game as a kid, not only because it was about global domination, but also because it was so strategic and there's so much to think about and do. And this is something that's very relevant to ERP implementations too, not only because they entail risk, and by that I mean ERP projects, digital transformations. There's a lot of risk involved, but there's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of moving parts, and there's no one way I can tell you to win this game. It all depends on what your opponents are doing and the cards you're dealt and what countries you end up with. So that's a lot like an ERP implementation. When you hear people talk about best practices and cookie cutter approaches, this should be a reminder of why that doesn't work. I can't give you a cookie cutter approach to win risk. I can give you some strategies and I can give you some good tools and knowledge based on where you are on the board, but there's no one way to solve it. And that's the same with the ERP implementation. So we also have a handy yes button. You may have also seen the easy button, but this is very similar. Reason this is important is because this is for executives watching this video, and if you have executives at your company that might benefit from this, maybe tell them to fast forward to this part of the video.